Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who lost 100 pounds and have been living life in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 77 pounds and continuing my journey to lose 100 more.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes. So, this episode, we're going to talk about a topic that was sent in to us from Renee. Renee wrote, I have been very down specifically since November. There's political, personal, so much right now going on, and my thoughts are negative. I'm aware that it infects all of my life. One of the ways that I feel like it is showing up in my journey is that I feel I'm tired of judging and hating myself all of the time when I weigh in. Tired of never making enough change to see movement in the scale. My logical brain says change takes time, small changes add up. My emotional brain is taking over my logical brain these days.
Oh, there's so much in that
Yes.
that I can relate to.
Mhm.
I will I have not jumped on the scale this weekend. I don't jump on it, but I haven't gotten on the scale because last night and yesterday I overate and I know I have not been showing up. So when I say I want to just clarify this. When I say I've lost 100 pounds and living my life in maintenance 4 years later, doesn't mean I stay at that 100 pounds, right? That right now I'm at 90 pounds, but you know what? Still lost the 100 and in maintenance. So we are so used to in our lives having that number on the scale mean more to us than anything else. How great your hair looks today. I mean, April, your hair looks amazing. But you know what I mean? Like, and your smile, like, there's so many things about us that are so much more than whatever that four-digit scale number it picks out.
Absolutely. And that the scale is definitely something we have I think Renee wrote in about a lot of different things that we're going to touch upon, but the
Yes.
scale in particular, I can talk about um affects us all. And whether we have a large amount of weight to lose, whether we're maintaining our weight, whether, everybody has a story, most people have a story about it. But the thing that was interesting that I wanted to share with you, everybody, and Renee is that I am on, a journey with a new coach for my weight loss journey, and the scale was messing with me because currently I'm in a stage where we are trying to have me maintain for a few months. So that's taking some mental endurance, and I wasn't really coping well. And so my coach had asked, how do you feel about taking a break from weighing in? And this panic like ensued, like not weigh in. Like I just didn't even know if I would be able to do it. But I said, okay, it's worth a try. So I wasn't weighing in for 2 weeks. And I will say that occasionally I would think I will say, have my husband put the scale away in another room. I did not know where it was. So there was no way for me to get the scale. I mean, I
Which I
guess I
think
could.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think it's
That's
so
okay.
great that you did that because we need help, right?
Yes.
Like we know what
Yes.
our quirky little brain is going to do. You know, you try to find it. So asking for help, I mean, what a great way to show up for that commitment to that goal.
Yes. I don't think anybody should be afraid to ask for help. And if you're so say you live alone, and you don't have somebody to put the scale away for you, you can take the batteries out and put them in a box and put them up in like in a tall cabinet that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get to without getting to a step stool, or make it harder to get to the scale if you are trying to take a break. And I do think that taking a break is really valuable, and that's what I learned in these 2 week this little trial that I did.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks I didn't weigh in. It definitely like minimized. I would think about the scale, but I'm like, okay, it's put away for now. So gonna have to wait. The thoughts geared up more as the 2 weeks started to come to an end. So I was like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Like, and I got on the scale and I was up 4 pounds. Let's just say the first few thoughts were not that positive.
Which is so
And
normal, so
of
normal.
course, so
Yeah.
normal. I'm like, WTF? Like, what's going on? 2 weeks? Like, I was just like questioning everything I was doing. I thought, am I ever going to be able to figure out my body? Am I always going to be struggling like this? Like, all these things. Maybe I didn't track right. Maybe like all these things. So I was having my little nervous breakdown. And because I am lucky and I don't live alone, Kevin was there and he pointed out so many logical things. We had eaten out 4 times that week. That was the week of my mom's birthday where I wasn't weighing in. And we had four, it wasn't planned, it just happened to be 4 times. And it's not that you can't eat out and lose weight, but for me specifically, too, and my body stuff, it's always high salt. I don't care if I order a salad. I really do think restaurants take that salad, they dip it in salt, then they dip it in butter, and then they put it
I
because I feel I've looked up like chilies and stuff, their salads, like just super high salt. So anyway, I digress. So point is, he's telling me all these reasons. You've been emotional, we've eaten out, eating things we don't normally eat, and I still hadn't quite gotten on board on his logical train, and I was still kind of upset about it. But I did not give up what I was supposed to be doing with this program, and I stayed the course. And I thought, this is not, you know, my favorite thing to see right now, but I do want to keep going. Kevin pointed out, like, I signed up for this program, you believe in it, and give it time. It's a transition. So okay, cool. So I'm doing it, but I was still feeling things. So then I decided I would weigh in every week, not every day, because I should say I was an everyday weigher and I was weighing multiple times a day. I was weighing in the morning and I was weighing in at night. So just obsessive. And what information is it really giving me? I know if I'm up or not or whatever. But anyway, so the next week came. I did not weigh in at all. I was very good. And I didn't have Kevin put away the scale. I said, I want to work on this myself now. And I had the 2 weeks where it was taken away. So I got on the scale the following week and I was down those 4 pounds. So what did that tell me? So the other piece of the puzzle was, so not only did I go out those 4 times, I was emotional, but I had weighed in on Thursday and that Friday, TMI, my period came 2 weeks early. So my hormones were probably all out of whack. The
Yep.
point is that scale doesn't know your hormonal cycles. That scale does not know that you ate out. That scale does not know that it's Friday and it's supposed to show you that weight loss. It is just data. And we put so much on that number and we make it mean so much about what we're doing. And I do invite anybody who really is struggling with the scale to just take a break. Every week, instead of weighing in, write down things that you did towards your
Mhm.
goal that you feel good about. Try focusing on those things first. And I don't know, Debbie, I would love to hear your experience because I know there's a lot of weigh-ins you've gone through in your life,
There
right?
there are,
Your
and
journey.
much like you, I am, or I was a frequent weigher. I've changed my habit around that, because during my weight loss journey, I think I wanted to see that number so often just to prove that I was losing weight, even though we do have proof other places. Like my pants were smaller. I could see the change in my face, but I knew if I didn't at that time, like I had to see that number because I did assign so much value to that inanimate object that's less than an inch tall on my bathroom floor. Like it just determined everything. And sometimes I'd look at that number and it would be a permission slip to eat more. Oh, I really haven't, you know what I mean? Or it would be a sign to restrict. And
Yeah.
so learning that it's just a number. And if you Kevin got up, um, so if I'm gonna weigh, I weigh first thing in the morning when I get out of bed, after I've gone to the bathroom, I weigh. I
Mhm.
have weighed like an hour later after I've had a couple of cups of
Mhm.
coffee. It's gonna be different. Your body is moving, things are getting settled, standing up, you're drinking coffee. It's going to be different. Every time you step on that scale, likely different data is gonna come out. And Kevin weighed after coffee and after breakfast a couple days ago, and he's like, "Oh," and I said, You've had breakfast, you've had coffee, you've been up, and what do you mean, "Oh, look at," but we forget it's so normal for us to go right back to that, and you said about looking up salads, and I don't count calories, but I'm aware of them, right? Like, if I go out to, I mean, I can look on the back of it, it doesn't mean, I just don't count calories, I just don't, but I'm aware of them, and you could, I love bastardizing a plan. I love saying that, but you can also do that to a salad. Like, if you have a salad with lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, oil, and vinegar, that's great. You go to any chain restaurant or you make your own salad, it is salad with as many things that you can put on top of it, fried chicken, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, you think you're doing great because you're eating a salad, but it's 1,000-calorie salad.
Mhm.
Which is what a
Yeah.
lot of the, I just think that's interesting because we always think we should be eating this, and
Yes.
sometimes
Yeah.
it just isn't there. So like, I have changed my relationship with the scale, and I do weigh less frequently, but I also know if I'm going to be truthful, I still do avoid the scale sometimes, and I think that is normal. Like, I know this week I've been up, doing the scale, getting on the scale, and gonna do me a bit of difference today. What's gonna do me a bit of difference today is when I listen for my hunger, when I drink my water, when I show up for who I want to be, no matter that data.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you talked about giving permission to eat or showing that the scale showed, oh, now I should restrict, that was huge. And that is something I realized too in the 2 week hiatus I took, that the games weren't there. I really was paying attention to my plan and sticking to my plan
Mhm.
because I didn't have, I would weigh in sometimes and be like, oh, I got away with that yesterday, or ooh, gotta really tighten up now. Like I was letting that dictate what I was doing over just paying attention to what I was doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
So yeah.
And it's such a good way to focus on, like you said, the things that you did that made
Hmm.
a difference despite the number on this scale. And, Renee said that she's tired of judging herself when she steps on that scale. And I think, and not just when you weigh in, but the judgment that you may have about how long this journey is going to take. The more we let go of the judgment of ourselves and the outside influences and look at what is, we're going to judge. I mean, it's normal, but to start removing the power of things that are outside of the control of our control, that scale has no power over my weight loss journey. When I
Yeah.
listen to my body for hunger, that has power. What other people think about me and how I'm doing on my journey doesn't matter. The power is what I think I'm doing about the journey. And it's not easy to give up that. I mean, you and I have talked a lot about that, and you have given me some really super gentle reminders of stepping into my own power. And I think that that has, I mean, April, it's probably one of the best gifts that you've given me is to, know that I can step into my power and it doesn't matter what around me I think needs to justify me. I have to. And so the first step, Renee, is to just judge yourself a little less. I'm not even going to say love yourself a little more, like yourself a little bit more in this moment because the judging and the liking will turn into compassion and loving, and that will move you forward more than the number on the scale, honestly.
Absolutely. And I think for Renee too, or anybody else out there, something that you could do, like a tangible thing that you could do. One is, of course, taking a break from the scale and paying attention to how that affects you and what thoughts are happening and what thoughts aren't happening anymore. Right. But the other thing is something that I've talked about in other podcasts is you wrote that you're tired of judging and hating myself all the time, which first of all, just want to give you a big hug.
Yeah. Mm.
Right. But take a moment to write down one, two, three, four. I don't want to give you a specific number, but at least one thing that you do like about yourself that has nothing to do with your body or weight. We talked about body, liking things about our body recently. I can't remember which podcast, but I would like you to write something that has nothing to do with that. And that's because we are all just more than that. And whatever weight you are today and whatever efforts you take to lose weight in this month, you're pretty much going to be the same. Even if you lost 5 pounds, you're still that same person, right? So what are you living for today? What are you feeling good about yourself? And I definitely mentioned this in another podcast. I started writing down 3 things, and I wrote down the same 3 things every day for probably a year or two. And it was that I am determined, I am learning, I love, and I am loved. And writing it every day just keeps reiterating it to your brain to the point where you won't have to write it and you'll believe it. And that is beyond the scale, the body, the looks, the anything. And I know Renee also talked about she's just negative thinking right now, right? Because of just life in general, her personal stuff, other stuff. And that's a very difficult place to be and to think about something positive. However, it really is the key out of the negativity that you're in. So, life is life for all of us. There's things we go through, times that are hard, and we're entitled to feel stressed, or we're entitled to feel sad, or mad, or angry, or frustrated, anything negative. Like, that's okay.
Mhm.
At the same time, there's the other side of it that you want to bring into it as well. So you want to think about, okay, this sucks about my life right now. However, I still insert whatever is true for you there, right? So
Yeah.
my mom is gone. However, I have a video of her that I get to watch her laughing. So there's the sad, there's the angry, but there's also the good and the happy and the joy. So that's a way that you can also work on pulling yourself out of the negative in that moment.
Mhm. And I think again, it what you're sharing is it defines the beauty of the and, you know,
Mhm.
not the don't embrace the but, embrace the and. And,
Yes.
you mentioned that you've been having a hard time too since the fall and November, and, you know, life is full every single day. Ever since the day I was born, it's full of things that I have had to work through, and some things are amazing, and I can find the joy in them, but then there are things that are from the outside of me that is bringing, anxiety and fear, no matter what it is, whatever it is that you're working through, it's all gonna be there. Like the doubt, the scary, the anxiety, just like April said, we can have all of those, and we can know that in this moment now, I am okay. And taking a moment, I know we've talked about this, to put your hand on your heart and just tell yourself, in this moment, I am okay. I know there are things that are outside of me that are causing me to feel a certain way, but right now, and I do this often. I like when I feel anxiety coming in, like if it were coming in right now as April and I were talking, I would look at April and I would say, what I see now is me talking to my friend. She is here. That is all that is happening right now. It's all I know. Birds are singing. I hear things, but all I know right now is I am here with April. Everything else is just what I am thinking is happening because I truly don't know. And so I think trying to bring yourself back to center will be so important in those times when you feel the stress and the pressure and the fear come up.
I love that, and I agree. I have heard about hand on heart, and I don't kn- so when I'm in public or at work and I'm feeling negativity or stress or whatever might be happening, um, I don't personally feel comfortable necessarily putting my hand on my heart, right? It's a great tool, and I do it when I'm by myself. But one
Yeah.
thing, so when you hear these tools that we offer up, you can always adapt them to what feels good to you, right? Like we always say, find what feels good to you. So I have a necklace that I wear all the time. It's a Tinkerbell necklace. It means so much to me. My mom loved Tinkerbell, so there's that. I have so many memories of going to Disney World with friends and my husband, and I love Tinkerbell. And so it just wraps my friends, my mom, it wraps so much into this little necklace that I carry with me. So I will grab it a lot. That's what I will do. I will kind of, even if I'm in a conversation with somebody, I'll grab it and kind of just hold on to it. And that's what grounds me in that moment if I'm feeling kind of anxious. So there's other ways to do the same kind of concept. We went out to a public place yesterday, and it was they were having a St. Patrick's Day celebration, and I tend to not do so great in closed spaces, loud people, dogs were there barking, kids. It was just a lot for me, sensory overload. And Kevin went to go get a drink. And so I was at a table like losing my mind, to
Oh
be honest.
no. Oh.
And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on one thing. And I did. I grabbed my phone and I just started to scroll. Something bubblegum for the brain. Like we talk about, think of something positive, but also maybe your brain just needs a break. Like Renee talked about life and personal and political, all these things. So I offer you also to think about, I call it bubblegum for the brain, where it just tunes out the brain and it just does something fun, whether it's scrolling.
I
I
love
have
that.
now started yeah, I have now started, like, taking even if it's 20 minutes, I love Grey's Anatomy, I love Gilmore Girls, there's shows that I grew up watching that are kinda just, like, fun, I just escape, I don't find myself thinking about anything else when I'm watching them. So I'll take a 20-minute break, and I'll just watch one of my old shows that I loved. Anything, it could be reading, it could be audiobooks, painting, whatever makes you stop and not think about anything else but whatever you're doing in that moment. That's a great thing to do as well for yourself.
It's and I love the bubble gum for your brain because I've not thought of that. And one of the things that I do, and I counted yesterday, I've done like 1,450 pictures. I love the Zen Color app. It is
Okay. Yeah.
when I need to let go of whatever is in my head and just be mindless, but also create something so amazingly beautiful after. That's what I do in hours. And it's some people be like, "Oh, that's wasting time scrolling Instagram," or no, it's not. It's what is wasting time is if you're doing it for a reason that doesn't help you. If you like you getting on Instagram provided you with safety and comfort in a situation where you felt a little out of and that's what the bubble gum for the brain does. So I love that. So, and like you said, like I say hand on my heart, but you just mentioned, and I had known this before about your Tinkerbell, but I have jewelry that I never take off ever. It never comes off me. I have two rings I wear all the time and a bracelet. And I mean, those could be my Tinkerbell and in those,
Yeah.
and I've never thought of that. So thank you.
You're welcome. I think anything that you can tangibly do for yourself, and you talked about wasting time, and I think a lot of people think that because so many I don't have children, but I know a lot of people have kids, they have jobs, they have pets, they have spouses, they have partners. There's a lot going on. Many of our lives are busy, right? But 5-10 minutes of escaping into a TV show or a coloring app or writing or whatever you find, 10 minutes of that is not going to make or break your day, but it may
Mhm.
make or break your mental status for the day,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yes, it's so
yeah.
true. And who's judging us? Like, do you know
Mhm,
what I mean? Like, you're being lazy because you're sitting and coloring. No, I'm
mhm,
not. I'm getting to spend the day just how I want to spend the day. But
mhm.
I have to do anything that I don't want to do, and I'm making the choice to do for. And that's what we both do every day. Make the choice to do
Yeah,
something that moves us
feels
forward.
good to us. Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to touch upon with Renee before we wrap it up for this podcast is when at the end she wrote, "My emotional brain is taking over my logical brain these days." First of all, I love that Renee wrote into us, so thank you for that, and
Uh,
thank you for being vulnerable enough to share all of these things that you're going through. You writing this, and we talked about this in another podcast too. This is your step one. You know things are kind of going crazy for you in your brain right now. So sit down and have a little talk with yourself. We really do want to parent our brain oftentimes,
Mhm.
right? It's going to think the things, it's going to dish all the crazy, it's going to take it to extreme places. And that's where we say, okay, I totally get that that's how we're feeling right now. And I can choose to think something else right now. Our truth, what we say to ourselves, is what we believe. You,
Yeah.
Debbie, when you talked about your coloring, you could say, I'm being lazy. That's what you would believe, and that's how you would feel. Or you could say, I'm taking 10 minutes for myself to feel good. That's true. Both are true if you choose to believe it and say it to yourself. So our brain is the only place these things matter and these thoughts matter. So take your second, catch it, and say something else that you choose to think in that moment instead. Hopefully that makes sense.
It doesn't. And you know what? Her logical brain showed up when she sent us that email showing that,
Yes.
hey, we are looking to make the
Mhm.
switch. So yeah, thank you for sending that in. And you said just a second, minute ago or so, April, you said, I don't know which podcast it was. And when you
Yeah.
said that, I thought, how lucky are we that I don't even know which number podcast it is. And we're in our beginning, right? And we're growing our audience, and we are so thrilled and excited about the emails that come in, the comments on the podcast, the questions that we get, because I mean, I think, well, I know we both thought this was such a great thing to do so people could hear like true and what we are living through. But it's kind of fun as, a woman from that lives in Connecticut and a woman in New Hampshire, that we are sitting here talking about something that means so much to us and is being received so well. So thank you, April, for doing this with me and us doing this together. And thank you to everybody who's listening.
Yeah, I'm gonna double up on that for sure. I thank Debbie because it was really you asking me and I accepting. So I'm so grateful for that day at your table and how this all came to be and everybody's support. And it does mean so much to both of us. This is our stories, but also wanting to help other people through it. And I just reached out to somebody that I saw on a different page, and she's over 300 pounds and feeling very alone. And that's really why. And she was so grateful that I reached out and told her about the podcast, and she shared it with somebody else, I think. And it's just so great because I think that's the biggest thing. We want everybody to know that you aren't alone. These are all normal thoughts that all of us have and all of us live with, and we're all just trying to find the ways that work for us that help us through it to feel better and to continue on in what goals we have. So I'm just so grateful too and appreciate everybody listening and spreading the word.
Yes, because it's exciting, right? We're doing this for no other reason to let you know you can and that we can and we are and we did, whatever it is for you, it
Yes.
can be done. Um, so next week we have, if you could have heard us talking, we always have our little chat beforehand about something that means a lot to us. When you live in a larger body, whether you call it overweight, fat, whatever you refer to your body as, in kindness, not in judgy, there is a lot of judgment and comments from the outside world. And I mean, April shared what she had come across on a post for a 300-pound woman. I came across a post in a local Facebook page here in New Hampshire about a woman who was fat shamed going into Walmart. And it's like, we are so much more than our body. We are so much more than our size. We are so much more than our hair color, eye color, whatever. And so we're going to talk about that next week. And Abe, what did you find about, I mean, because it is, right? There's so much that people interject their opinions on. So,
Yes, there's opinions. I'm so excited that you brought up this topic for next week, and we still ask and invite anybody and everybody to send in questions or
yeah.
topics to. You can do it on our Facebook page or email to April and Debbie dish the truth at gmail.com. But wait. there's even if people have learning disabilities, there's just judgment. And we all have to find ways to cope and move through the judgment and really just go back to listening to our thoughts and our beliefs about our system, our beliefs, but about ourselves. But other people's opinions, that's a hot topic. And I got very revved up when we talked about it before today's podcast. So there'll be a
Yes,
lot to say. We may go over time next week. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
It might be a long one, but it'll be a fun one for sure.
Yes.
So thank you everybody for joining today. And I'm gonna tell you, like my flowers keep blooming because life just gets better the more we grow.
Yes. And as always, wake up willing to do something that feels good to you.
Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.